of thinking that this is really quite interesting. I love being outside, so I'm going to do this video from outside, but boy, the wind keeps picking up, and I have to make sure my camera doesn't blow away. But I'm determined, I'm going to do it anyway. So my name is Conrad, and I help people to live the life that they love. You know, that's really what I think draws me and attracts me more than anything else, is to see people who are dissatisfied in some ways, who are living below their potential, to be able to come to a place where possibilities open up and they end up having a life that's so much more. And I've done this in two different ways. I've taken people traveling, and over the time that I do these videos, you'll obviously find out more and more about travel, because that's such a love of mine. But also for 35 years, I've worked as a therapist in many different settings. And as a therapist, I found the same thing, that people's lives can turn around, can change. And for me, that might be the biggest blessing and the biggest attraction to being able to share this type of work with people. So off we go. Today I want to start, I'm going to tell you about a trip that my wife and I took in 1995. We had incredible backpacks, really the best, the state-of-the-art backpacks, and we got off the plane in Lombok, Indonesia. Now, Lombok is an island in the Indonesian, it's like a necklace, and on the one side is Bali, and on the other side is Flores. And this would be our stopping off point, and we're going to, from there, travel throughout the islands for the next 2 months. So the place we started from was paradise on earth. I've never been in such a beautiful place. We got off the plane and it was tropical, and there was fruit everywhere, and everything seemed so lush and green. And then the property was right on the sea. And so all night long you were in these beautiful wooden buildings that were open up at the top, and it allowed us to see out, that we could see the water and hear the waves crashing all night long. You could imagine that after 3 days, we felt so relaxed, and we felt that we had gotten, away from home enough that we were really ready to put those backpacks on and to start our journey. So we did. We went all the way across the island of Lombok to the other side. And when we got up in the morning, we were next to, by far, the most beautiful beach I'd ever seen in my life. And we were walking on the beach road, and way up in front of us, coming towards us, there was this short, older woman wearing all black. And as she saw us approach, she started making these motions like boom, 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 her arms going up and down, and she was pumping hard, and she started speeding up. And what she was basically showing us is that she thought that we needed to learn how to slow down and relax. Now, we started laughing because here we were of the opinion that we were relaxed and that we basically were, strolling and enjoying our day. And she saw it so different. And that basically happens to travelers over and over again, that we think one thing and we find out, in the eyes of someone else, it could be totally the opposite. It can be totally unexpected what they were picking up. So anyways, that was a beginning day for our actual journey, through the islands. And that's related to the theme that I want to talk about today. I want to talk about what I don't know. what I don't know. Now, when we hear that the first time, it's like, what does that mean? What's that about? And what I'm hoping to accomplish is to take you through looking at this through some different eyes, so maybe we can see something that we wouldn't have noticed before. And what I don't know has become a theme, not only for the part of me that's a traveler, but basically a theme for how I grow and expand in all areas of my life. Now, one of the explanations of what I don't know, it comes from the 12-step program. The very first step is acknowledging that I can't control this. My drug use, my alcohol use, whatever addiction, it's out of control. I don't know how to control it. And what the 12-step program recommends is to become aware of it. Be aware of the fact that it's right, you don't know. And guess what? You are out of control. You don't have the answers. You don't know how to stop this. When a person can get to that place, what that program says is you're on the way. That's the starting place. So let's apply it to school. You know, you get a kid in school, and obviously what school is there for, they don't always do a great job, but what they're for is to support students to really learn and open up their thinking. I don't know is the first step. Imagine the opposite. A student gets in the school system and the teacher starts presenting or starts really opening up a discussion for learning, and the student just shuts their book and it's like, I already know this. Why are we going through something I know? And as soon as they assume that they know it, they're already shut down. There's no learning can happen. The very first step to learning is always an openness that I don't know. And when I don't know, it allows me to look at something differently. The last one I want to share, where my heart lies, it's the traveler. The traveler gets on the plane, goes to a foreign country like we did in Indonesia. You get off the plane, and it's very good for you to start your journey with that attitude. You know, this is unfamiliar. I have no idea what goes on here. I have no idea what I'm going to have to face. I have no idea what I might get from this journey, who I'm going to meet. I don't know any of those things. And that sort of allows me to be open to what's possible as we do the journey. So now you begin to see that I don't know is a very rich concept. And for me, any change is blocked until we're able to get to that place that we're open because we don't know. We're open because we don't have the controls. We're open because it's not familiar to us. And this is true of so much in life. I'm going to tell you another story. I obviously like stories because that's what travelers do. You know, they have all these adventures, their lives are changed, and the way they share it is usually with stories. So this story goes back to when I worked in a psychiatric hospital, and one day a week, I was able to, offer a group. I was a therapist in the hospital, and I was able to offer a group to people on a substance abuse unit. And this was right before lunch, my group. And I would get the whole group together. And at that time, I was trained in a method by Robert Masters. It was called psychophysical method. And in a nutshell, what we learned to do is help people to become more sensitive, not only to their own body and correct ways that our sense of self is distorted, but also to open up all of our senses to the outside and to be more present and aware of what's around us. So it's a very powerful method. And it's nice because the person can be led through it, and they do it for themselves, and they do as much or as little as they want. And there's no force involved. It really is focusing on the qualities that respond to pleasure and enjoying the process. So usually with this group, I would just work on people's hands, and we would focus on all the fingers and, you know, allow the hand through the movements to release any tensions, and then heighten the sensitivities, you know, the sense of touch and feeling. And we would do this for about an hour. And at the end of the hour, I'd invite people to take a walk outside. Now, this hospital, River Edge Hospital, was right on the river, and it was absolutely gorgeous outside. There were oak trees and maple trees and paths and really beautiful areas to walk and listen to the sounds of the water. And so my group, after we were done, would go outside. And consistently, every time I ran the group, they would come back in and report to me they were so excited that in their entire lives they had never, ever felt like they saw nature and they saw the world around them with such clarity and color and detail. They had lived a life not knowing it, and probably affected heavily by the drugs, but they lived a life that was dim. They missed out on being able to experience the world the way we see it when we're not dimmed out. And they would be so excited about that experience that it was not uncommon for most of the group to just totally skip lunch because they just wanted to walk around and experience their presence and ability to be a part of nature around them. Now that to me is a story about I don't know. They had no idea what they were missing, and there was something I didn't know. I had no idea that people lived in such different realities. I assumed whatever I'm seeing in the way my world is, that's the way it is for everybody else. But after that experience, no more. I figured out that everybody lives in their own reality. And I guess from the psychophysical method, I also learned how nice it is to be able to help people to become more attuned and sensitized to what's possible. So the old River Edge group was so beautiful to watch these guys wake up and come alive. What I'd like to share next is one of the, it's a diagram that we teach people when they travel with our group. It's called Travel with a Purpose. And, you know, it's to help orient people on how to tune in to what's important when they travel. And so it's a very simple diagram. It's really an iceberg. So what we know about icebergs is that there's a part that sticks up above the water, and that's the part that everybody can identify. Oh, there's the iceberg. But most of the iceberg, by far, probably 80-90% of the iceberg is buried. It's not visible. It's below the water. And boy, what a metaphor, huh? Isn't that true? How many times are we aware of the smallest part of ourselves when most of it is not in our sight? It's really out of sight. It's something we don't even know about half the time. So if we take our metaphor of the iceberg, and we're going to talk about a way to look at what's important when we're wanting to go deeper into this exploration of travel. The iceberg has three parts in our model. The one part is above the water, and that's the part that everybody sees. So we could call that the adventure for now. And then just below that part, maybe a third of the way down, is a second part. Now, it's inner because I can't see it, but it's still very much connected to and related to the experiences I'm going to have when I travel. So it's often the place where inside of me I'm walking around and maybe I'm afraid or I become super curious. It's all those different feelings and thoughts and beliefs that are going on inside of me as I travel. This really is the place where transformation happens. When a person travels and at the end of their travel experience, their life is no longer the same. It's not the externals that have changed, something inside of them, their own identity's changed. And so below that, the biggest part of the iceberg and the part that we'll probably skip over for today is the bottom part of the iceberg, which is like the foundation. And I like to think of the foundation as our spiritual path. So there's three levels. At the bottom, the foundation is our spiritual path. In the middle is the place where our inner world is affected by travel. I like to call it the inner journey of discovery. And then way up on top, the part that we always see, that's the adventure. That's what we're aware of. That's, walking down the street and hearing people's languages that are different, looking at architecture that's different, smells from food, all of the things on the surface. These are the top part, the visible part, represented by the visible part of the iceberg. Now, the problem is that we assume that the top part of the iceberg is a reality that we can be in touch with, that we're aware of. But from my two stories, hopefully you got a sense that when you're walking and thinking that you're relaxed, you may not be relaxed at all in somebody else's vision. That means that we were out of touch with the way people were seeing us. We had no idea. And then the story from the hospital says the same thing. The alcoholics, the drug addicts, they had no idea what they were missing in terms of perceptions to the world around them. So there's the first myth that we break, that we so often assume, and assume wrongly, that the world we see is the world as it is. And I'd have to reinterpret that now. The world that I see is the world that is affected by my own beliefs and feelings and my culture and just so many things that are going on inside of me. So every person in this sense is influenced by their own inner dynamics. And as a result of that, none of us live in the same world. We all have our own perspective on reality. And as we'll see, and we're not going to talk a lot about it today, our reality that is around us can give us feedback to help us see things differently, as with the older woman, and the outside reality can change us and bring us possibilities that are a way to really value travel as a way to be transformed and changed. Now, if I look at the middle layer, the first one below the surface, 1/3 of the way down, I called it the inner journey of discovery. If I look at that one, what I get is that what I'm discovering is how many different ways there are to see the world, and how that's influenced and how it influences me internally. If you were listening to the podcast or whatever we call this, our video from yesterday, that's where all the possibilities lie. Not outside of us. The real possibilities for transformation and growth and possibilities for change. It all happens inside. And we said that those possibilities, they're limitless. So what I don't know is that full range of possibilities that are there for me to discover. And until I discover them, I don't even know what they are or what is possible for me. So a real exciting place for me is to think that travel can open up possibilities that are a surprise, and I love surprises, and that makes travel a mystery. And then the bottom part, the spiritual path, in a nutshell, you could say that what that's about and what I don't know, it's taken care of by a type of guidance that's bigger than me. It's like as if I'm part of something that is part of, our whole experience, including everybody else that is part of my experience, including all the situations and everything that might happen to me. It's almost like as if there's a guidance that can get me to link up with the right people and can put me in situations that are going to be best for my growth. And that I'm calling a spiritual path. So what I don't know is so much more, but it's the richness of what I don't know, because on the other side of what I don't know is where things begin to happen that really benefit me. That's how my sense of growth is really stimulated. I think what I'm going to do for today is I'm going to wrap this up a bit, and I'd like to summarize it that what we don't know may actually be one of the best indicators that we could be open and at the beginning of an incredible journey. It could, when I don't know, it could be saying, you know what? This is the richest place to be. Because you're at the door. Open that door and step into it. Move into your journey, move into your future, because rich possibilities, things that you have no idea, are right on the other side. Now, we were talking a bit about coronavirus. Could that be true here? Could it be true that what I don't know about the virus and what I don't know about how it can really benefit me, what I don't know about what I have to learn and how my whole identity and who I am can be deepened as a result of this, what I don't know about how this can affect my relationships and how this can benefit our culture and our whole country, and how it's bringing the world together, on and on. These are all, in my mind, potential places, possibilities that can come out of this. And so rather than seeing I don't know as something that is threatening and seeing I can't control this as something that is wrong, maybe being in a place where I don't have control and where I don't know allows that deepest level that I call the spiritual path to enter into my life and to guide me to what might be best for me and the best outcomes from this situation. So my hope is that this gives you a place to take what often might be interpreted as a problem or something that I need to change, I need to get control. What if instead of that, it's actually one of the richest times in a journey, because we're just opening up and the whole journey lies in front of us. What I'd like to wish for all of you then is that you have the life you love, and that as a result of what we're going through now, that life becomes more and more and more of what you love. Thank you for listening, and I appreciate just having a chance to share these ideas that I'm hoping will be useful. Thank you.